On this episode of JOF TV, we discuss Marvel Cinematic Universe, including what we thought of the Civil War movie and how it's been affected by Hydra Captain America. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to JOF TV. I am your host Cilla, and with me,
What?
And with me is Chuck. We're filming.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
You're gonna piss Jack off. He's
I
already
can't.
ready to dock peanuts.
You know what? You're right. I probably shouldn't say anything mean. Last time I said something mean to him, he took me off the air for 6 months. Anyway,
He's a tough boss.
we love our boss. Jack is awesome.
We love working for Jackalopes. Anyway, on our last episode, we talked a lot about DC live action.
Right.
DC
TV versus DC movies.
And I think we came to the consensus that the TV is pretty much on the right track, and the movies not so much.
Right. That crazy train has derailed.
Oh yeah. It derailed the second they hired Zack Snyder, in my humble opinion. He just doesn't get it.
Is it really though? Is it humble?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Zack Snyder doesn't understand the source material, I feel.
You know, watching Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel, I think I have to agree with that. I don't think that he understands the source material even a little bit.
Exactly. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you have Marvel that, while unfortunately we are both taking part in a Marvel boycott, which truly does sadden me, because of the whole Captain America Hell Hydra incident.
Hashtag say no to Hydra Cap. Hashtag boycott Marvel. Keep spreading the word. I keep putting it out there because I think it continues to need to be said. And every time I tweet it out, people are retweeting it and things like that. I have this ongoing joke, and it's not a joke, but it is a kind of a jokey tweet. I follow Funko, the brand that creates the pops and the rock candies, and as you know, as you can see over there, I have approximately 61.
Wow.
Funko Pops,
I
including
have
the rock candies.
3. 4 if you count my fiance's.
It's possible that I have a problem. But anyway, back to the point. So I follow them, and they keep they have a couple of different subscription boxes, and one of them is the Marvel Collector Corps, and it has so every now and then you'll see this retweet and follow original Funko to get a free Collector Corps box, or retweet and follow at Original Funko to get this Captain Marvel Unmasked Collector Pop. Just all these different Marvel ones. And every time a Marvel one shows up in my feed, I reply to the tweet. I don't retweet it, I reply to it. And I say, I am sad that I cannot participate in this retweet, as I am currently boycotting Marvel. Hashtag say no to Hydra Cap. Hashtag boycott Marvel. So far, Funko has not responded to that, but I do usually get a couple of retweets and likes on that one. So, at chagel77 if you want to follow me on Twitter and retweet those, because, I think it needs to continue to be said until they fix the problem.
Have you seen any new information from Marvel in regards to it?
I have not. I think they're holding the course. And issue 2 should be out shortly, because I think it's been 2 whole weeks, which means we're only, at this point, a week and a half away from the next issue. So we'll see if they do it every 4 weeks. So we'll see what happens when issue 2 comes out, and because the alleged explanation is supposed to happen in issue 2. So we'll see what happens. But I can't fathom how they're going to explain this to any level of satisfaction.
Agreed. But we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
And it does truly sadden me because, quite frankly, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is
Amazing.
way better than anything DC's done on the big screen.
It is entertaining, which it needs to be. It is coherent. It is. It follows a continuity
But yet,
and a plan.
But yet they can stand alone.
Yeah, exactly. You can watch each individual movie and go, "That was a good standalone film," and you don't need all the self-referential stuff that they do. But that self-referential information, especially in the stingers at the end of the credits or in the middle of the credits, those are helping to tell the story, helping to keep everything together.
It's beautifully done.
It's
truly
brilliant. The plan thus far has been really good. Obviously, we're just now really getting started with Phase 3. So we've still got a ways to go because, as far as I know, they're planning at least all the way through Phase 4. So, I mean, we've still got, let's see, it's 2016. I think last I saw they were planning through 2021. So we still got lots of years, 5 more years of this. And that's,
we may not be seeing those films.
Well, we'll see. It all depends on how how the Captain America thing shakes out. As it stands right now, like we have said, we are boycotting Marvel. We're not giving our money to Marvel in any way, shape, or form. That's kind of where we drew the line. Disney products, it's too easy to boycott all of Disney, or not too easy, too hard. It's too hard to boycott all of Disney because you have to boycott all of the just traditional Disney stuff. Star Wars, the Star Wars property. You have to boycott Marvel. There's a lot of stuff in there that I truly
ABC love. As a whole.
Yeah, the whole freaking ABC channel.
And I'm not prepared.
Freeform.
And I'm not prepared to boycott my Disney princesses. Sorry, not sorry.
So yes, this is a Marvel thing. So we're gonna blame Marvel. It's not enough to just boycott the one book, though.
Right.
So
agreed.
Anyway, but yeah, I think that overall they're doing way better than DC is.
Oh, absolutely. Now,
use your words.
Do you feel like this Captain America Hydra thing, had this happened prior to Civil War coming out, would have affected how Civil War did in the theaters? Because obviously it's done quite well.
Yeah, it's done phenomenal. I absolutely think it would have hurt its revenue. Had this been released 2 to 3 weeks prior, or even the week prior, I think it would have hurt the overall revenue of Civil War.
And I would have felt really, really sorry for Chris Evans.
Right.
Having to do the press tour in the middle of that.
It's like, what do you mean I'm a Hydra agent? And as we've said already, Chris is not happy with this.
No.
He's been diplomatic about it, but he has said this, he said, say this ain't so. So, and again, we don't have enough information to know where it's going to end up, but we know where it started. And that starting point is bad enough.
Yeah, and we've discussed it in detail in past episodes, and I don't necessarily feel the need to rehash the whole thing, right. But I think it's impossible to discuss Civil War and not bring it up in some capacity, absolutely. Because it's a Captain America movie.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, we see many of the other Avengers in it, but it is Captain America.
Right, it is Captain America Civil War, but let's be real, this was an Avengers movie.
It was.
Because realistically, the only Avengers actually missing from this movie are Thor and the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have a throwaway line for them in the movie. But of course, we're going to see them and where they are and why they weren't able to be there when Thor Ragnarok rolls around.
Right, because we are going to see Hulk in that movie.
Exactly. We do know that for a fact. That's not a spoiler. It technically is a spoiler, but only it's been spoiled by the studio. So, now, that being said, we may not be able to see it. Fucking Marvel.
Yeah, they need to resolve this because I also know that Hiddleston's going to be in it, and I need more Loki. Fix it.
I have
Marvel.
heard it. I don't. Have I mentioned this that Tom Hiddleston is on the short list to be the new James Bond?
He has debunked that and said that that's not happening.
Rat bastard. That just means that nobody has officially talked to him, or he can't talk about it. We get that a lot. Celebrities do that. They'll say, "Oh no, that's not happening," and a year later, I lied.
Well, according to the man himself, he says that announcement is not coming.
Okay. So as of right now, he is not signed on to be James Bond. That does not mean that he's not on the short list and just hasn't been made an offer yet.
Right.
So I personally would like to see Idris Elba as James. A lot of people have said the same thing. Whoever, I didn't. It's not my idea. Somebody else said it before me, and I went, "Ooh, yeah." So anyway, I got us off topic, and I apologize. But yes, Ragnarok. Who knows if we'll see it or not?
Fix it, Marvel. I need Loki.
I don't honestly care if I buy another Marvel book or not. I haven't been buying a lot of Marvel books to begin with, and that's the thing. I have kind of put Marvel to the wayside because of a lot of changes that they have made with their characters. The books weren't as entertaining as they could have been anyway, but the new development with Captain America, I would have read that had it been a different character.
Yeah.
Had they said, like I was saying the other day, had they said the Hulk and Bruce Banner, Bruce is Hydra, the Hulk is not, I would absolutely read that book. I would give them my money for that.
Or if Tony Stark suddenly became Hydra.
Right? Yeah, I think these would be fascinating reads. But to have it be Captain America, like I said, it's a problem. But since I'm already not spending a lot of money with Marvel, I had to boycott on a larger scale, and so now I can't see the fucking movies.
Luckily, we saw Civil War before this all went down.
Yes.
And so let's get to the movie itself. What do you think of the movie as a whole?
As a whole, I think it was a great movie. Like I said, it is an Avengers movie. While it may say Captain America Civil War, this was an Avengers movie from front to back. And while the story was largely centered around Captain America, it was also about Captain and Tony, Steve and Tony being on two sides of a very hot button issue. Mm-hmm. And they didn't follow the exact story that was in the comic books, which you've never actually read, and I think you should.
No, however, I'm glad that I didn't read it before seeing the movie because I truly didn't know what to expect, and so the outcome was very different than what I anticipated.
Yes, and I don't know if we talked about it on camera, but you and I have talked about that. You went in as thinking for surely you're going to be Team Cap.
No,
I'm sorry, Team Tony. I got my things wrong.
Team Iron Man.
You were going to be Team Iron Man because obviously Captain America was going to be on the side of the government, and Tony was going to be the rebel. Mm-hmm. And that's not how that ended up at all.
No.
And I think that that's very cool. That is keeping with the spirit of the original books. Again, if you haven't read them, you need to. And
I intend to now.
Go out there
at some point when I can buy it.
If you haven't read the original Civil War, they're now doing Civil War 2, I guess, as a kind of a comic tie-in to the movie. But if you haven't read Civil War 1 from 8 years ago or whatever it was, absolutely go read it because it's a very entertaining
but don't pay for it.
And deep story, but don't pay for it. Find somebody that's already got it and borrow it. But yeah, no, it's good read. You should read it.
Oh, I absolutely intend to find some way to read it.
Now,
not buying it.
While I do think that overall it was a good movie, I think that there's always little things about any movie that are better than others, and little things that are worse than others. But talking on the better side, the standout, the show stealer for me was Spider-Man.
Right?
They
that was brilliant.
We finally have a young, believable high school age Peter.
Mm-hmm. Very well casted. I always liked Tobey Maguire as Peter. Mm-hmm. Not young enough, but that aside, I thought he made a great Peter.
See, and I thought that, oh wow, I just lost his name.
Andrew Garfield.
Thank you. I thought Andrew Garfield played a better Peter because, well, at least a better Spider-Man because he had that snarky attitude that Tobey Maguire's version never really pulled off. Andrew Garfield pulls off a better snark, and that's Spider-Man. Spider-Man needs to be snarky, but neither of them were young enough to be Spider-Man just starting out.
Yeah, I thought this was very well casted.
Yeah, I like that we're not going to see the origin, or at least if they do the origin, it's going to be glossed over. We've seen the origin. We know how Spider-Man got his powers. This Spider-Man, the Spider-Man in Civil War, is about 6 months after the events of him getting his powers and Uncle Ben dying. So this is him and Aunt May getting their moving on with their lives. And Aunt May is hot. They picked a very young Aunt May in Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, she's never been that young before, has she?
She, as far as I'm aware, we've never seen an Aunt May quite that young, and I'm okay with it. I really am, because it's more believable. A younger aunt. The Aunt May has always been so old. She was a grandma. She was a great Aunt May.
Yeah.
And so that never worked for a lot of readers, and I think that a much younger Aunt May works out well because it's a believable. She's only like 20 years older, maybe 30, than Peter is.
Right.
So that works in her favor. I'm not real happy about Tony flirting with her because of the issues with him and Pepper. Because I want to see them resolve that. I want to make sure that him and Pepper are okay going forward. I don't want to see Tony and Pepper apart because I'm invested in Tony and Pepper. Goddammit, Tony and Pepper for life. I have issues.
Clearly. So if I understood correctly, basically Pepper was just feeling like Tony was putting work first. Is that what I got out of it?
They were already having their issues, and then he was supposed to have destroyed all the Iron Man suits to spend time with her, and then he's still Iron Man. He's still doing things with the Avengers, with S.H.I.E.L.D., with the government. It's like you're not stepping away, and plus he's also still involved in the company, although she's running it. So I guess they just don't really have time for each other right now. That's kind of hurting their relationship. I want them to fix that. Please fix that. Whoever's in charge, please fix that. But since we're winding down and not going to see a lot more Tony anyway, it may not matter.
Yeah.
In fact, it's entirely possible. I don't know the plans because I'm not behind the scenes. It's possible at Homecoming, because we know that Tony's going to be in Homecoming, which is interesting. But it's possible that that's going to be his last appearance as Tony.
He's not going to be in the new Avengers films?
I don't think they're planning on him being in it. I think that they're planning on the younger team taking over and
they're talking about an Iron Man 4.
The last I heard, Robert flat out said, "I'm not doing another one."
Yeah, he's recently come out and said that with the right story, he'd consider it.
Okay. So anyway, we'll see. This could be the last one. He may be in Avengers. We don't know. He may be doing this for another 20 years. We just don't know. Let's face it. Mark Hamill keeps saying he's done with the Joker, and then keeps coming back because I just heard that he has confirmed that he's doing the Joker voice one more time. He is the Joker in the new Justice League cartoon.
He has finally said, you know what, the Joker keeps pulling me back in. I'm going to keep doing this.
If they keep coming to me, I'm going to keep making them, and that's great. So you never know. Robert Downey Jr. It is a very lucrative IP for him. So why would he walk away unless he really is just completely bored with it, or it's not the right script for him?
And he seems to enjoy it. I mean,
I think he does. I think he has a lot of fun with it.
Even on his Facebook, he's always posting stuff with Iron Man or Tony.
Right.
He seems to, in his personal life, have fun with the character.
He has embraced that is a part of him now. Much like Chris Evans has embraced that Captain America is part of him.
And I love that.
I do too.
That they don't resent these roles, they embrace them.
Absolutely. Because you do get a lot of people that resent them. Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg is an asshole. I didn't say that under my breath at all, did I?
No, and if we had a little more time, we'd delve into that.
Yeah, but
quickly, I do want to also touch on the fact, going back to Civil War.
Right.
I felt like there were 3 movies in one. it felt like there was the Scarlet Witch storyline, the government storyline, and then the Bucky and Captain America storyline.
So, which technically is the primary storyline.
Right.
Bucky and Captain America is technically the primary storyline, and then you've got these other side stories that intertwine. So in some respects, it's like watching a soap opera.
Yes.
But a bigger budget, a better film, cinematography, better lighting. You know, so clearly not a JOF production.
No, clearly.
But you know,
we should film a soap opera.
No, we shouldn't. But you know, you're right. It was. There are three stories in there that are all intertwined with each other. A good story needs to have that. You need to have more than just this one linear story.
Right.
And I think it made it feel. I think it made the movie feel well paced. It was not fast. It was not slow. It was well paced. You didn't feel like you sat there for 2.5 hours, which you did, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, but you didn't feel like it. You felt like maybe an hour and a half. But you weren't exhausted. It didn't wear you out by just watching the movie. And Avengers kind of does. Avengers is so heavy with action from front to back that it wears you out watching that film.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to. But Captain America is a little different. So, you know, I think that overall it worked really well. I think this was as good an entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe canon as any of the others have been. So,
Agreed.
You know, I think we're okay.
What do you feel was the strongest point of the film?
Storyline-wise, I think that the strongest point of the film is at the funeral where Agent whatever says, you know, she introduces herself as the niece of Agent Carter, and Sharon Carter.
Sharon.
Thank you. I couldn't think of her friggin' name. She gets up and says who she really is, and this is the first time Steve understands. Oh my God, I didn't know you were related at all. And she tells that story that the previous Agent Carter, whose other name escapes me, Peggy. God damn, I'm dead today. Peggy Carter tells her about sometimes taking the, you know, just agreeing and going along isn't the way. Sometimes you have to stand up and say no. You move. And that's a powerful moment. And then he takes that and uses it. I'm misquoting it terribly, but anyway, he takes that and uses it later. That's what tells him that he should not sign those documents, and he should not say, okay, I'll be a government stooge. But I also like that they show very clearly why Tony feels that his point of view is also correct. I think that from a storyline perspective, those are the best moments. One thing I thought was a failing was the end. When you say you've got this ridiculous setup where Zemo goes and finds these other Winter Soldiers who are in cryostasis, pretty much, and obviously he's going to wake them up, and these guys are going to show up and walk into a trap and be attacked by all these Winter Soldiers. And what do you mean he shot them all in the fucking head? It was a build up for nothing. The whole thing was just a swerve, and then the real purpose was to put Tony in the same room with Bucky and say, "Oh, by the way, Bucky killed your parents. Have fun with that."
Which, and that whole ending fight scene still bothers me.
Now, why does it bother you?
Tony is a very smart man.
Okay.
And very logical.
Okay.
And
I disagree with that, but okay.
You don't think he's logical?
No, I don't at all. Tony is ruled by his emotions. The whole point of the Iron Man is because Tony is ruled by his emotions. Tony was put through the ringer, was attacked and held captive by people using his own technology against him. He created the Iron Man to escape them and said, I am done. I'm not going to put these weapons out there anymore. We're going to stop this, and I'm going to make myself a defender of the innocent. That is all. That is 100% from the heart. Hey, no logic to that whatsoever. If he were
Fair
logical, he would build it and hire Rhodey to get in the goddamn
enough. Fair enough.
So no, he's not logical. He ain't Spock.
Smart, nonetheless.
Smart, very intelligent.
And smart enough to understand that it wasn't Bucky that killed his parents. It was the Winter Soldier. It was Hydra. It physically, yeah, okay, Bucky did it. It wasn't Bucky that did it,
Okay,
though.
but you're talking about a guy who just found out within the last 30 seconds who killed his parents. The person that pulled the trigger is standing right there in front of him. And he is an emotional being. And he uses that emotion as his strength. So absolutely he's going to attack. I think that the reasoning for the fight works. I think the setup to get them there for the fight didn't. And the fight itself was amazing. It was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
Well choreographed fight. It's
I
like watching pro wrestling. Woo!
felt bad for Steve. I will say that was emotional because you know Steve cares about Tony and he cares
Sure,
about
absolutely.
Bucky.
Tony is his brother, and so is Bucky.
And I did feel for Steve.
Right.
And I guess by the end of the movie, I did feel like maybe Tony had cooled down some and understood where Steve was coming from.
Sure. Yeah, they absolutely understand. And you see that in those closing moments where
Right.
Steve is technically still out there in technically a rogue, but you know, Tony's not an idiot. Tony's letting him continue. And so I think that's cool. I think it's setting up an interesting next chapter for these characters.
I think the next
and
Avengers
the universe
movie,
as a whole.
I mean, there's 2 Avenger teams now, essentially. It's going to be
Yes.
very interesting to see how that comes together in
They're
the next
going to have to work together.
Avengers movie.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, we may not see it at all. Marvel, you need to fix your
it.
shit.
Fix it.
So.
Fix it. We're running out of time, but
yes, we're out of
I
time.
would just like to reiterate one more time. Fix it.
Hashtag boycott Marvel.
Hashtag say no to Hydra.
Say no to Hydra Cap.
Hydra Cap, yeah.
Say no to Hydra Cap. Anyway, so we're out of time.
We're out of time.
We've had a good discussion.
We have.
Okay. Next time on? We have no idea.
No. Who knows?
We never do a next time on because we honestly don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about next. No. Next time we could talk about puppets. Next time we could talk about Funko Pops. Do you know how many Funko Pops I have?
You mentioned like a lot.
61.
Yeah, 61.
I may have a problem.
I think so.
I'm running out of shelf space is my problem.
Build some more shelves.
I might have to do that.
Realistically, we'll talk about whatever the hell Mr. Jack tells us to talk about.
There is that. Jack's the boss. If he tells us to talk about peanuts, that's what we'll talk about.
The moment he's kind of lettuce pizza kick.
Yeah, well. We'll see what happens.
Thank you for watching. As always, you can find our social media information in the description.
Yep.
Follow us, like us, comment, share, spread the word of the Jackalope.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that when we do have updates, because our updates are kind of sporadic right now, we're not updating daily yet. Because they're kind of sporadic, make sure you subscribe so that when there is new content, you are notified properly. And like she said, comment, like, share.
And if you have suggestions on what you want to talk about or what we want to see us talk about, let us know.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jack is definitely open to letting us talk about fan topics.
Absolutely. We're always looking for new things to talk about. So, until next time.
Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.